What's up guys, Sam Adams here, and today I kind of want to talk about Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Rainbow Six Siege for just a moment or two. And I first want to start off by saying I am a complete and total noob when it comes to Counter-Strike, and I'm just now getting into looking at the alpha gameplay of Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm enjoying it, but I am a total noob. Like I said, I've never been into the competitive side of Counter-Strike. I've never really played it that much except on the Xbox 360, which doesn't really count in the long run. And so now that that's out of the way and you know that I really am not a professional when it comes to this kind of thing, let's talk about what I'm seeing from these two games. Whenever I was first looking at them, I thought that they were pretty much identical. I thought that Ubisoft was making a CSGO copy and that it would gain a lot more popularity and that people would play it and Ubisoft would make a lot of money, but that is not the case. However, I do want to point out that these two screenshots are very similar in the fact that the player count in the top middle part of the screen is pretty much identical, and it looks like Rainbow Six Siege is copying that from CSGO. However, it is the best way to do it for this kind of game. The way that the kill system works in Counter-Strike Global Offensive is a lot like Search and Destroy from Call of Duty if you aren't familiar with the game. Once you die, and then you become a spectator, which I think is a great system for these two games because it's pretty much a SWAT team versus a SWAT team in every game mode. And if there was a respawn system, it would kind of lose that life is important feel to it. You know, you wouldn't be so afraid of dying, and that would kind of kill the purpose of the game. So whenever you're doing that kind of thing, you have to see who is alive constantly. You can't just have a kill counter at the bottom of the screen. You can't just see how many people are left. You have to kind of see who is alive, and that's definitely the best way to do it, I would say, especially if you can customize the images like you obviously can. So now that that's out of the way and that you've seen that that is very similar, let's talk about what is different. Counter-Strike and Rainbow Six Siege have completely and totally different feels to them, and this is why. So Global Offensive on the first side of things is a lot faster paced than Rainbow Six Siege. I have to get that out of the way first. The way that the games that I have watched in Global Offensive go is that two teams start off on opposite sides of the map and then they both kind of traverse their ways to the middle, and then there's this long hallway. Just bear with me here, this is all hypothetical. And then people will peek out and there'll be gunfight, and then someone will die on this side, and then someone will just run down the hallway, and then there's this giant fight and huge explosions and, you know, gunfights break out, and the match is over in like 30 seconds once that confrontation starts right there. And that's how most of the Global Offensive matches that I have watched tend to go, even though it's a VIP game mode, you know, anything, hostage situations, bomb, you know, it all tends to go like that. And it mainly shows off your shooting skills. You know, if you can get that headshot in, you can pretty much lock it down. And that's kind of how Global Offensive goes. Then you've got Rainbow Six Siege, which originally, like I said, I thought was very similar to Counter-Strike, but it's not. So the first thing you have to do in Rainbow Six Siege is plot where you're going to enter your map, or, you know, where you're going to confront the enemy. And I'm just going to use the suburban house as an example. So you can go in through the garage, through the roof, through the windows. There's a lot of different ways to enter the house. So that's the first difference between Counter-Strike and Rainbow Six Siege. And then once you enter the house, it's a lot slower of a process for the most part if you play the game correctly to get to the enemy and to kill the enemy. You have to kind of go through all the missions. You've got to go through all the rooms. You've got a heartbeat sensor so you can see where the enemy is, and then you have to communicate with your teammates to kind of determine how you're going to go about approaching taking out the enemy. And I think that that's really cool, and it kind of is a more strategic game as compared to Global Offensive. So then once you find the enemy, you have to kind of figure out how you're going to assault them. There was one instance in my mind, there's an IGN video that I will link down below, where a guy is camping out in kind of a closet style setup, and then you enter the room and the closet's there. So you've got two guys on the outside, and then they're getting ready to enter this room, and the guy is firing out through the door in the closet. So you have to kind of throw a grenade in or a flash in, stun that guy, run in, you know, kill him. You have to kind of figure out how you're going to do things, and that's something that not a lot of people do in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Whenever you're playing Siege, communication is going to be imperative, especially whenever you're running as a team and you're not just hooking up with randoms. You have to be able to talk to your teammates and kind of plot out how you're going to do things. That being said, I think that the map design for Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Rainbow Six Siege are going to be pretty similar. You know, you've got those big open areas so that you can have gunfights from balconies and stuff. However, you've got the other side of things where you've got the small and narrow hallways and different kinds of twists and turns so that you can maneuver your way through the map, which is good because players do have different play styles. So if you've got one guy that likes to weave and maneuver, he can do that and then kind of flank the enemy, while you've got one guy over here kind of trying to shoot his way out of a bad situation. It's just going to be really great depending on your play style. It doesn't really matter. You're going to enjoy the maps, and I think that that's great for both games. I know that I'll be picking up Rainbow Six Siege whenever it's released. It looks really good even though it's an alpha game. I don't think the graphics are going to be as good as the original trailer looked, but I mean, that's to be expected. It's definitely going to look better than Counter-Strike Global Offensive, even though that game is so old. They're both going to hold their own whenever it comes to the competitive community, and I hope that a lot of people do start playing Siege competitively, because I could totally see this being its own separate thing from Global Offensive, but people just have to look past the cosmetic side of things and look at how the game plays to acknowledge the fact that these are both two totally separate entities. So there you guys have it. If you've enjoyed this video, drop me a like down below and comment what you think about the Rainbow Six Siege game and the gameplay itself. Are you going to be buying this game? Do you think it's going to be able to hold its own? Let me know what you think down below. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to head over and check out some of the other videos. I do like new stuff 4 or 5 days a week, so there's always something new to check out here on the channel. And as always, I hope that you guys share this video with your friends, help the channel grow, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.